Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop in and visit and check out my video. And today, we got a special, kind of a special deal going on today. Um, we have basically I had, and I want to say thank you also. We have basically what it says in the headline. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to have set up for the Aston Martin for the American track packs, for the track pack for the COTA, Indianapolis, and Watkins Glen, and it's sponsored by Antonio Crescenzo, so from Italy, and I want to say thank you very much for doing that. And basically, we're going to go over one track at a time. The first, I think I got a pretty good setup for Watkins Glen already, but the other ones were just roughed in. So I've really spent a lot of time here at COTA, and it's the first one for this series. And it's going to be definitely a longer video than normal because I really want to get into really everything I can to explain why I did what I did. So this is really going to be, like I said in the title, basically an in-depth, on the setup and some of the things I tried and some of the things that worked, didn't work. So that way, maybe if you have to adjust it, you kind of know where I went and what I'm coming from. Because I'm sure that you might have to do a little tweak here or there. But again, I don't want you to do some of the things that I've already done that didn't really work too well. So again, I did run my personal best, so I'm really happy with that. And I'm really impressed with the Aston Martin for that because, I don't really race the Aston Martin that much. It's not like the Porsche or the Huracan or something like that I have a lot of seat time. I really don't race it that much, and for me to come here, I've done a lot of sessions. This session by itself, I've done over 30 laps. 30 laps. I probably got near 100 laps altogether. So spent a lot of time, and it's that fine tuning that really, you think you got it. Oh, I should go out there, maybe a couple little this or that, and that's it. Well, it still takes a long time, because I was also looking for, again, things that I look for. You want performance, good pace, you want drivability, and you want I try to have the best tire wear that I can have. And again, there's a balance. There's a trade-off with performance and tire wear. But, I'm trying to have a good balance. So what I don't want is to do one great lap and then it just tank after that. Or the car is just wearing you out because it's so hard to drive to get it out of it. So those are the things that I look at when I'm trying to do a setup. And, of course, I was just kept going back and forth with different things because I'd get an improvement, but then the car would destroy the tires, or it was harder to drive, or so I couldn't check off each box. It would, maybe check off one box, but the other boxes wouldn't check off. So then I would end up having to go back, do some more adjustments, do some more things, and then sometimes you'd lose performance, and then you come back and do something. So it's just a back and forth, lots of testing, lots of driving. So let's do a lap, and I can tell you some places that, some places that markers and things like that with the Aston Martin. So let's get behind here, and we'll do a lap here. This is my first time lap from the pits. So you can see my fast is at 2:06.98. If your thing is blocking it, but you can see that's the first time I've run a 2:06. So and that's from before, but I'll explain that. But again, this is the first lap with some changes, and again trying to do another stint again. So you're coming up here to the 100, and basically I'm hitting the brakes right at the line. So basically, sitting in the car. You can see the lines right there. I'm coming right up to the line, especially the first lap. Now, you can go a teeny bit deeper after the tires warm up, but you definitely don't want to go in real deep with the Aston Martin. And this is the hardest corner for me with this car. So this is my this is my warning, so to speak. The Aston Martin, for some reason, does not like you to trail brake going into this turn one. The way it comes up over the hill, because what will happen is if you're trail braking coming over there, the back end will just slide right out. You'll just get into that slide. And I've tried everything under the sun to try to make it to where you can go into turn one more aggressive, but it just doesn't like the trail brake in there. Now you can trail brake just about everywhere else. It's just this turn one. So you want to brake straight, let off, and just turn. And that way it'll just roll right through there and get back on the gas as soon as you can, so you can get your momentum but going back down the hill. So again, just keep that in mind. Don't get discouraged. It takes practice. But just make sure you're braking straight and then let off the brake and turn. I see. I was way off the brake. I wasn't any kind of trail braking going into here, and that's what you want. Again, really close there, barely touched it. Now that's the only place. Everywhere else, you can do a little bit of trail braking. Now here, you want to hit. You're coming up to this right-hand S here. You want to hit the brake to slow the car down. Now, if you go past that and try to hit the brake, the car's going to get all crazy on you and you're going to go off the track. So you want to basically get the brake to settle the car down coming up to this right hand, the part of the S here. And then you downshift to third. You can run this a little wide. So if you come in here, you can come in a little hot, and if it drifts out a little wide, that's fine, but bring it right in tight coming around this right hand turn. Yeah, so you can come in right like that, bring it to the right, and then go back to the left. Now, I was wide there. You can go all the way down over here. Now, of course, like I said, tires aren't even up to temperature yet, so it's probably doesn't have the grip. But again, you can come all the way down. You don't really want to hit this, but you can come right up next to it. So again, then come up here, and as soon as you come up to this curbing, you want to touch the brakes and get on, downshift to second. Now, I'm not all the way on the brakes. I'm just getting on the brakes to settle the car down. And then you're going to hold it tight through here, and then you're going to go to the left. Now, that I did run right over it. So you can run over it some. Not as much as that, but you can definitely still run over it a little bit. And then cut this corner here. Now, I go right up to the one past the 100. So again, when you're coming up here, you're coming up to the 100, which you can see the line right here. That's the 100. And I'm right up to it. So in the car, you can't even see it. So I see I'm going past it. I know it's right there, but I'm going to where I can't even see it. So then you want to get on the brakes. And again, real late apex. This is like a 120-degree turn or 150-degree turn. I mean, you're coming back into yourself tight. That's how tight it is. So you want to go in real late and cut it back in, and get on the gas as soon as you can. Now I'm gonna explain this corner. This corner, because a lot of people say, well, with the diff, with some of these corners and things like that. Later when we go over the setup, I have a little bit more diff than normal. And a lot of people are like, why do you run so much diff? Well, I'm running more diff than I usually would in the Aston Martin, because when I ran less diff, these real tight corners like this, and then the one at the end of this straightaway, and the one going down the front straightaway, when you go those slow corners and you're getting on the gas, you could hear the TC kicking in, and it was not getting the drive that I wanted to get. So basically, I wanted to be able to get on here, get on the gas as early as I can, and have no hesitation as far as any TC. Just go. I just want it to go. And it really, really works well. So again, we're going to come up through here and just notice how you listen to the motor when it goes through here. It just picks up. There's no TC, no nothing. Okay, and it's got great speed down this straightaway, right up near the top. So 161 like every time. So that's really good. Again, I'm coming right up to the 100, right before the 100. Again, you'll see the next lap I can go maybe a little bit deeper when the tires get up to temperature. So again, when you got cold tires, obviously just like all cars, you got to brake a little bit earlier. Again, ran wide here, but you know I'm thinking the tires are cold, so it just doesn't have the grip. Again, I go past this white line, which is the 50, so I'm past it. I figure a good car length past that 50. Go down to first, cut it back in. Be careful through here because it wants to, you know, spin up a little bit. And then here I noticed if you go out a little bit, make sure if you are taking a different line, that's fine because this corner is so tricky. But make sure when you get on the brakes and you're turning, make sure you're in the groove because if you get out here in this gray stuff, there is literally no traction. It feels like you're in a sandbar. I mean, you just slide. So make sure you're in the groove here if you're you know, coming from a different angle. I did cut that pretty good. Now there's a whole bunch of different things you can do here. But I try to hold it kind of tight going through here like that. And even if I run over this and run over this little curbing right there, but see how it's holding it nice and tight. And then I come up to the 50, downshift to second. And go right through. And then I come up to here and basically, which is this white line, and I go down to first to get the drive to go down the straightaway. So that's how I do it. You know, the basics. That was a 207.44. Now again, like I said, tires aren't up to temperature, but I think that's really good for a first lap out. And also, you know, definitely with missing a lot of apexes and things like that. For me, I mean, that's pretty decent. Again, here you want to be careful, not overdo it. It's so easy to go out through these S's. Man, it's crazy how easy it is. I'm a little wide there, so definitely I think some more time there. But I was really trying to be conservative, staying in the limits, not pushing it right to the edge. No, and listen. It just goes. There's no stutter, no nothing. Again, 161. Really good speed. No lockups, which I like looking at as far as, you know, tires locking up or anything like that. And that was my fast lap. And that was a 206.95. So really happy with that. Really stoked. And if you look, I'll show you some of these timetables, and I want to explain something. So let's look at before that. So here I am coming out right up here. This is you can see I'm coming out of the pits because it's got the, you know, I was in there doing some changes. And you see I ran a 206.98. The first lap was a 208.30, then a 206.98, then a 2. I mean, you can see it's jumping all over the place. 207.8, 208.2. I mean, it's and I got it fine tuned to where basically all I was doing was changing my spring package. That's pretty much all I was doing, and I really liked it because running a little teeny bit stiffer spring, I like it because it get more exact and more precise, and I like the feel of it. But it was just the grip. I couldn't get grip. The car was sliding around. I was having to really drive it. And even though I got one good lap, but then after that, it just felt like I was ripping the tires to shreds because I couldn't. The thing was just sliding everywhere. So I didn't like that. So I came back in, and the only thing I changed was the spring package. I just dropped it one click all the way around, and then came back out, and look at that. I mean, that's what I'm looking for right there. You're looking at 207.4 like we watched, then my fast lap, then a 207.1, 207.1, 207.2. I mean, you got 4 or 5 laps all just bing, 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 and it felt really good. And they all could have been faster. I mean, all these here, a teeny slip here, a teeny, maybe a little bit teeny wide there. I mean, they all could have been, even quicker. But at least they were staying consistent, and the car was so much easier to drive. It had more. It felt like it had more grip, and you weren't sliding. It was actually turning. It was actually, doing what the input you're putting into the car. So that's why I went with that package, and I think that's better for the tires and the longer run and things like that. Now, of course, I didn't say it, but I was doing basically. I tested it with the fuel load, a race fuel load, and of course this off of 80 liters. I tested it. Was with a pit stop. So basically, I tested with 41 liters, like if you would come in at a pit stop and get a set of tires and go back out, because I want to make sure that the rear end goes up a couple. So I want to make sure it didn't get oversteery or didn't get so hard to handle once you had, let's say, half a tank of fuel in it from your race fuel. So that's why I did it that way. Of course, obviously, if you have a heavy tank of fuel, you're probably going to be running more like 720s, 730s. That's what I was running. 207. I mean, 207 20s, 207 30s. That's what I was running my best laps when I had a race fuel load. So again, still, to me, I still think that's, for me, for my times, that's very respectable. For me, that's right there. And of course, then once it picks up 2 or 3 tenths, easy. And again, somebody that really drives the Aston Martin a lot probably could, I wouldn't be surprised at all to knock my time right out with my own setup, just because they have more experience, driving it a lot, racing it a lot. Which, I mean, I have, I've raced it and driven it some, but I mean, it's usually comes in spurts. So again, somebody that's really had a lot of seat time probably can do better than I can. But again, I think it's really solid. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I mean by checking all the boxes. So let's take a look at the setup. Okay, we got 24.8 left front, 25.8 left rear, 25.3 right front, and 25.8 right rear. The toe on the front is negative 0.2, with the camber at negative 3.6 on the left front and negative 3.5 on the right front, and the caster at 14. The toe on the rear is 0.05, with the camber at negative 2.9 on the left rear and negative 2.8 on the right rear. Okay, so these are things that I changed. And again, tuning it, I had more negative camber in it. But what would happen is, after about 4 or 5 laps, the spread would grow. So I would have like a 5 degree, or 5 degree difference in the spread here, and it would just be getting wider and wider as the tire wore. So I basically knocked that down a couple, and I think it keeps it more consistent, and I like the feel of it better anyway. Now the toe, I'm running more toe than normal, but I think this is really good because it gives that turn in, and you need that turn in here. You have such a dramatic those what you got what one two like three turns that are so tight they actually come back on each other. They come back on from where you're coming at. Like I said, they're like 120-degree turns that you need a really good turn in, so the car will make that turn the fastest it can. So I gave it a lot more toe than I normally do. Doesn't hurt the straightaway speed. Again, I checked it before it, after it, they're exactly the same. So it doesn't hurt anything like that. It doesn't hurt tire wear. It's just the same. So, I mean, I just like it because it feels a lot better going into there. I tried more toe on the rear, but it gets the back end too slidey. So I took some of that out. So that and of course, like I said, the same thing with the negative camber on the back is the same as the front. I had to take some of that out because it was basically the spread again was getting wider as the tire got worn down. We'll go next to electronics. It's just 3, 3, and 3, 3, 1, and 3. So basically, I did that for for just being consistent. I mean, I don't think it's going to be any faster anyway. I mean, I didn't really feel it get on the TC anyway. But, of course, as the tires wear, you have a little bit of safety there. So that's, why I did it. Fuel, of course, like I said, 81 liters. There's the tires here, and you can see, it's got a little bit more spread than I like. But, I mean, it's closer on this side, so that's just the way it is with the Aston Martin. Just got light graining, that's it. So, again, it's not bad. Mechanical, got 6 on the anti-roll bar, 61 on the brake bias, steering's all the way down. Now, here's the springs. The springs are 145,000 all the way around with a bump stop rate of 600 and a bump stop range of 3. And on the rear, the bump stop rate is 700 and the bump stop range 20. The anti-roll bar is 4 and the preload is 70. Again, we'll go from top to bottom. I've tried a ton of different anti-roll bars, but the reason I went stiffer is what was happening is through the S's, the car was pitching to each side too drastically. And to counter that, I would run a stiffer spring, but then that made the car not get any grip. So you couldn't, you were fighting each other because if you wanted the car to stay stable through the S's, then and you ran a stiffer spring, you just couldn't get any grip. So basically, what I did is running a softer spring. I just ran a stiffer front bar, and to keep it, it still moves some, but that's okay. But it keeps it from getting too drastic from side to side as you're changing directions, because that's when it wants to do it. You're changing directions. The car wants to get dramatically go one way or the other, and that's when you'll get into a tank slapper or you'll lose control. Brake bias. Really sensitive with the Aston Martin. I tried 61 is good to start off with. I did most of my laps at 60. So again, all the laps that you saw there were at 60. But you can start off with 61. That's not a problem. Anything under 60, just be careful. You can go. I tried 59, and it's not bad. You can do it, but especially turn 1, just be religious as far as brake straight and just let off and turn. Do not trail brake at all. Just let off and turn. But that takes practice, but you can. So it gives you some adjustability there depending upon how confident you are with that. Again, with the springs, I tried to do stiffer. I tried all kinds of different combinations. I couldn't tell you how many different combinations, but this was the best combination for consistency and grip that I could find. I'd mix matched back and forth and even all the way around. It did, again, all the laps I did, this is without a doubt the most consistent and it's still fastest. And of course the bump stop rates I've changed from some lighter but a little bit heavier, trying to keep the car again stable. And help get it to rotate a little bit in the back. Now, if you want, you might be able to knock this down one click, maybe to help you out. So if if you think it just rotates or a little bit too fast, you might want to click this down, one or two clicks. Try one or two clicks and go from there. So that's again an adjustment I suggest if it just rotates a little bit too fast for you. You might want to try that. As far as the anti-roll bar and all that, this is the only thing I would really highly recommend really not to mess with. I've tried different ones, and like I said with the preload on the diff, I've tried a ton of different preload diff settings, and this is by far the best. It feels great. I didn't feel an understeer to it at all, and it hooks up and goes coming off these corners. There's no TC, inhibitor at all. I mean, basically it just goes. So that's what, to me, it's right on the money. Shocks on the left front, it's 8, 2, 14, and 7, and on the right front, it's 7, 1, 14, and 7. On the left rear, it's 3, 1, 9, 5, and on the right rear, it's 3, 1, 10, 6. So again, all done by MOTEC, and we'll take a look at the MOTEC and see what it looks like. So that is the fast lap right here. I think it really it come out really nice, and of course I did make a few adjustments. I mean, you look at this. This is basically like 49.9. This is 50. This is like 47.9, 48, 48.8 or something. That is a little over. I did make an adjustment on this. This one is a little over. Made an adjustment on this rebound on the rear. This is 49.5. I left that alone. And this is 49.8. I did make a very minor adjustment on this side since the graph's a little bit off. And this one I left alone. It was basically a little over 50, but still. So again, really close, really decent graphs, I think. And really, again, gone over multiple times. I can't tell you how many times I adjusted MOTEC. Again, it's constant changing all the time. Pretty much kind of like tire pressures. So that's that. And the last one is Aero. I got 53 in the front, so it's all the way down. 69 in the rear with a 6 wing and a 3 in the brake ducts, and the front aero variation is a 22.7 to the positive. Now, again, with the temperatures, this is about as high as I would go, or as brake ducts as low as I would go as far as the temperatures. If it goes up pretty much any hotter than 23, 24, I'd probably go up a click in the front brake duct because the front tires are pretty much right near right perfect. But if it was getting any hotter, it would probably start getting too hot. So again, just keep that in mind. Now I've tried all kinds of different ride heights and wings. Now actually one less wing. Was it one or two? It's either one or two, but I had the same speed. The speed was not any different, which I don't, again, that's just a secondary. I'm looking at how the car feels, lap time, the balance of the car, and things like that. So there's some things you can do. Again, I really suggest not to mess with the ride height if you can, because you really need this car to turn in quick. With the way it turns in, you really need it to react, and that's the ride height in the rear is going to make the car turn in quick, and that's what you really need here at COTA. So I would recommend keeping it right around this. If you do make an adjustment, just one click here or there, but I really wouldn't make anything drastic. To be honest, if it rotates too much for you or the rear end's too nervous, I would just give it the simplest thing would probably go up in the wing 1. And see, it drops it down to 2.1. And you might lose a mile an hour down the straightaway, but that's it. I mean, you'd probably go still 160, which is still good. So, again, I think it would be solid. If you think it's too nervous going through the corners and you need a little bit more downforce, or you got some conditions maybe with a green track or fast track, or it's not optimum. It's greasy. You might want to go one more click on the wing, and just leave this alone. And or maybe you got some weather that you might have a chance of a little bit of rain here or there. You might want to just go up one more in the wing just to give you a little bit more uh, understeer. Not really understeer, but more you being more neutral and not having the car rotate as quick. So again, those are just ideas to give you so you can make adjustments to whatever your situation is. Again, they're just suggestions. Again, you just have to see how you like it, practice with it. Definitely COTA is one of these places, man. You really got to practice at this place. That's for sure. But again, I really want to thank, again, Antonio, again, for his sponsoring this series. And again, you'll see the next track come out. Not sure when. I'm hoping later on the week or maybe by the weekend, and then hopefully the last track will be out. It should be out next week. So I'm hoping they'll be out every few days. So we're going, like I said, American Track Pack with COTA, Indianapolis, and Watkins Glen. So I think it's a great start to this series with this car, doing basically my personal best, even though I'm not, raced the Aston Martin a lot. So I'm really, really thrilled and happy with it. And I hope it works good for you because that's, the big thing. So I really hope it works good for you, gives you something that you can really go off of, and don't have to do too many things to it to get it to where you really can enjoy the car and at COTA. So again, I hope you like this video and give me a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. All your support is very much appreciated, especially with the new algorithms that YouTube has. So any kind of likes or watching the whole video or comments, all those things really help the algorithm. And again, my little channel, it's really hard for it to get known out there. So I do appreciate it. Any support you have, I do appreciate, whether it's from PayPal, which will be a link in the description, along with the link in the description of the setup, or liking, subscribing, and all those things. So I appreciate it, and I sure hope you come back and visit again really soon. See ya.